Hi fellow crafters, today I'm going to show you a fun fold card idea with a nice surprise inside. I'm going to be using my color and contour stamp set and my pierced blooms dies. Once you learn how to make this fun fold card idea, you can adapt it for a variety of occasions. So let's get started. Hey everyone, I'm Terri and I'm nuts about stamping. I love sharing techniques and project ideas for card making, scrapbooking, and paper crafting with you each week. Be sure to hit that red subscribe button and the bell beside it so that you'll be the first to be notified when my next video goes live. Now, let's have fun with this card fold.
Let's talk first a little bit about the pierced blooms dies. I think these dies are absolutely amazing. You can die cut flowers in several different sizes, plus you can die cut leaves and centers to go with them. I particularly love the stitching details that you can see on every single die in this pack. Not only are the pierced blooms dies great for cards, but they're also great for scrapbook pages and other paper crafting ideas. So don't just think about them for cards. And then from the color and contour stamp set, I'm going to use the splatter stamp and I'm going to use this thank you for everything stamp because I want to make a thank you card. But as I said in the introduction to this video, once you learn this card fold technique, you can use it for a variety of occasions. So don't just think it's for thank you cards. So now that I've shown you what I'm going to use, I want to start off by creating several elements using the pierced blooms dies. So from the pack, I have this flower die, and then I'm going to use these centers for that particular die. And then I've got two different sizes of the leaves. And that's all I'm going to use for my card, but I'm going to create several of these combinations to put on my card. And the color I've decided is Bumblebee for the flowers. And then I'm gonna do Night of Navy for the centers. And then for the leaves, I'm going to use Granny Apple Green. So all in all, I have decided to die cut 5 Bumblebee flowers. And then obviously I'm going to need centers for each one of those flowers. And then I'm going to die cut 6 of each of the sizes of leaves. Okay, I hope that makes sense. If it doesn't, continue watching and I'll show you how it's all going to look in a minute. So I'm going to bring in my Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine and I'm going to show you the first pass through. And then what I'm going to do is stop the video and I'll go ahead and create all of the other die cuts that I need for this card. You don't need to watch me doing this several times. Once you see it once, you'll be good for understanding the rest. So here's my first pass through. Just set that aside for a second. Let me get my paper piercing tool. There we go. So there's the flower, so cute with its stitched details. And then the beauty about this little die is you end up with 2 centers. So the centers are going to be like that. Okay, and then here are my 2 different sizes of leaves. So as I said, I'm going to go ahead and create additional die cuts now that you've seen what the first pass looks like. Then I'll come back and I'll show you how to put these together and how to create this fun fold. I'll be back in a minute. I have all my flower bits and pieces ready to go. And my next step is to bring in my silicone craft sheet. And what I want to do is I want to add a center to each one of my flowers using my multi-purpose liquid glue. So that's the next step. It's just a drop of glue and then plop your center on top. They don't have to be perfect. flowers in nature are certainly not perfect as well. So that's the beauty of this card idea. And then what I'll do is I'll let these dry while I create my fun fold card and do a little bit of stamping as well. Okay, so I'm just going to set this aside, and I'll just push the leaves to the side for a second as well. And now I have a piece of Whisper White cardstock, and this is going to be for the front of my card. And as I said at the beginning, I'm going to use this splatter stamp. I'm going to bring in a scrap piece of grid paper because I want to do a little bit of stamping off, and I don't want to mess up my clean grid paper. I'm going to use Night of Navy, which is one of the coordinating colors, on my dies. And for the splatter, I'm going to stamp off, and then I'm going to stamp on. Stamp off, on, off, on, and so on. Okay, I think that's good, like so. Now I have another piece of Whisper White, and I have the Thank You for Everything, and what I want to do is ink that up in Night of Navy and stamp that in the center of this layer like so. Now that I have my phrase stamped on this layer, I'm actually going to layer it onto Night of Navy. So that's my next step. Again, I'm going to use my multi-liquid purpose glue and adhere that down. And the next thing I'm going to do is take two of my flowers, and I'm going to put them like so, so that the phrase is really drawing your eye. And to attach them, I'm going to use a mini Stampin' Dimensional on each one. So I'm going to pop them up, and then I'm going to add some of those leaves that I die cut to add some visual interest. Let's put it like so. Okay, and then I'm going to bring in my silicone sheet, and I'm going to add just a line of the liquid glue. I'll put one leaf there. So I've got the different sizes of leaves. You don't need a lot of glue. So for each flower, I'm going to use sort of the skinnier leaf and then the fatter leaf, I guess, for lack of a better term. And I'll do it like that. So I've got my phrase layer ready. I'm going to set that aside. And then I'm going to show you what to do with this other layer that we did some stamping on. I'm going to do the same thing. This time I'm going to add 3 flowers, and then I'm going to put leaves around them exactly the same way that I did for this layer here. So I'll go ahead and do that, and then I'll come back and I'll show you what it's going to look like for this particular layer. Here's what it looks like. And then again, I'm going to layer it onto a piece of Night of Navy. And because this is not quite dry, I'm going to add glue to the Night of Navy layer and then gently set this down on top like so. And then I'm going to take this layer and I'm going to add it onto a layer of, whoops, Granny Apple Green. Well, that is the first one I've been videoing, that a windstorm comes along and blows everything off my crafting table. Anyway, we've got it all back organized now. And as I was saying, oh my goodness, I'm going to add this layer onto a layer of Granny Apple Green. Okay, and then I'm going to set that aside to dry for a second. And now it's time to talk fun fold. So here's what I did for the fun fold card. I took a piece of Night of Navy cardstock and I cut it at 5.5 by 6 1/4. And then I put it on my Simply Scored so that the 6 1/4 was along the top of the Simply Scored. And then I scored it at 2 inches so that my fun fold is like that. And this is actually going to be my card base. Now, to the inside of my card, I'm going to add a piece of Granny Apple Green. Hopefully you can see by now that all of these colors are coming together to coordinate beautifully. So I'll add this layer on the inside, like so. And then I'm going to take the thank you for everything and I'm going to adhere that onto the inside of the card. Like so. Now, I'll leave a bit of room so that I can write a little note and add a signature like that. Now what I'm going to do is take this larger piece that I have and put that on the front. But what I'm going to do is ensure that it covers up this nice little surprise inside my card. So obviously I don't want to put glue on the whole back because I want to be able to open it up to see that nice little thank you note inside. So to attach this layer, I'm going to use my tear and tape adhesive. And what I'm going to do is just put it along the section of this top layer that I want to attach to my card front. So I'm just sort of going to take a wild guess. You may want to measure it much more carefully than what I'm doing, but I think what I have created will work perfectly. So let me peel off the covering and then we'll adhere it down. Okay, so let me turn this over. And again, you want to line it up so that the surprise inside is completely covered. Okay, like so. And there we go. Lovely to see that inside. Now I have a couple of final touches. I think as it is, the card is beautiful, but if you have embellishments at home that you're not using, this is the perfect time to use them. So I have a piece of the Bumblebee Gingham ribbon, and I went ahead and created a bow on the bolt and then cut it off the bolt. And I want to attach this ribbon to my card front using a mini glue dot. So let me do that. And I'm going to put my bow up here like this. Now, one thing I didn't mention at the beginning of the video was I got this idea from another demonstrator who had created this fun fold card idea to share with her customers. She used a completely different set of products, completely different set of colors, but I loved her fun fold idea and decided that I would share that with you using the Pierced Blooms dies. I love these dies. I've created this video using the same pack of dies, so you might want to see another card idea when you finish watching this one. Now I have one final touch. I have these adhesive backed gems, and I'm going to add 3 gems to the front of my card. I'm going to try and make them equally spaced from each other. And that will just add sort of the crowning touch, a lovely touch of sparkle to complete my fun fold card. So let's have a look. This is what it looks like on the front. And then when you open it up, there's a beautiful surprise inside that will delight the person that's going to receive this card. And I'll also mention that this fun fold layout fits perfectly inside a regular sized envelope, so you don't need to worry about that as well. If you would like a complete listing of the supplies that I used and the measurements for all of the layers for the cardstock, head on over to my blog, www.nutsaboutstamping.com. And if you would like to get more fun ideas emailed directly to you each week, I will leave a link underneath the description box in this video to my blog so that you can hop on over there and subscribe to my free newsletters. I send 2 newsletters each week with a project idea in each one that you won't see anywhere else. I'm Terri. I am Nuts About Stamping. I hope you'll create this fun fold card someday soon. Bye for now.